Hello everyone, welcome to Witchin' and Winin'. I'm your resident witch, Miranda.
And I am your resident wino, Christal.
Fun fact about her wine today, she didn't have a cork opener, a corkscrew or thingy.
Yeah, I'm at my grandparents'.
You tell it because I thought it was funny.
So I'm at my grandparents' in Roswell, New Mexico. Woo! This is basically my home. I grew up half my life here, so I feel like I'm at home. So I'm visiting, and I went to open this bottle of wine. Of course, there's no wine openers here at Granny's house. But my uncle is here, and I was like, hey, uncle, I need your man thumb. You just got to push the sucker all the way down into the bottle because I don't have a way of pulling it out. And he somehow got a butter knife and somehow used just a butter knife to pull the cork out of the bottle. So
I don't know how he did that.
He's magic. He's magic. And
he's one of those aliens that landed at Roswell.
He told me a story about how he was, I don't know if it was this last alien festival that they just had, but he just told me a story about how he went to the alien festival for the first time, which is funny because he's lived here for so long. But he went and somebody tried to interview him, and they were they were like, hey, have you seen aliens? Have you seen any aliens? And he was like, yeah, I see a lot of aliens. And they got super interested and put the microphone right in his face, and they were like, oh my gosh, really? He's like, yeah, really. Oh, okay, well, tell me about these aliens. He was like, yeah, they run real fast. And they're like, wow, really? I didn't know that. And he was like, yeah, but I hear if you can catch them, they taste like chicken. And I was like, what'd he say after that? He was like, oh, the interview was over.
Because the interviewer was like, oh, he's just fucking with me.
Yeah. So that was his 15 seconds of fame.
Was it a live interview or was like a pre-recorded?
Probably pre-recorded. I really have no idea, but I almost kind of hope that it was live.
That would have been priceless.
Oh, okay. But this story, this episode is about legendary locations. I was going to go with spooky, but you might not think all of these are spooky, but they are really freaking cool.
Fascinating, I think is the more appropriate term, because a few of mine, they're not exactly like spooky, but they're like, whoa, that is crazy.
Yes.
Like trying to, like a couple of mine specifically, that there's some sort of scientific explanation behind it, but scientists haven't figured it out yet, which just leads me more to be like, oh my gosh, there's more to this world than we know because these freaking scientists can't figure this out.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about this one.
Me too.
That's for sure.
There's a lot of information we're going to give.
Oh, yeah. So buckle up, buttercups.
Come along for a ride.
Yes, come on. Get your nice bit of tea or wine, or in my case, I have a giant water bottle and some cheese corn. No, puff corn. Mm-hmm.
Cheese corn.
Yep. It is not cheese corn, it's puff corn because, it's really soft for me to snack on.
Yes.
With my braces. It just melts in your mouth.
I've got wine and tres leches cake. Tres leches.
Ooh.
I don't know. I can't say it right, so I put a weird, goofy accent to it to make it sound better. It might have been worse, but it's really good cake.
So whatever your guys' snack of choice is, just get comfortable and cozy and don't pull up a blanket because it's fucking hot right now. But pull up your listening ears and let's dive right in.
All right, we're going to start with the Alaska Triangle. And I know I talked about, I talked about the Dark Pyramid, or other people say Black Pyramid, that is in Alaska, in the Alaska Triangle. Now I'm going to talk a little bit more just in general about the Alaska Triangle because there's so much craziness going on in Alaska, you guys. And y'all, I am not even hitting the tip of the iceberg with what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you a lot, and it's not even a little tiny bit off of how much is going on there. It's crazy.
There's still more.
There is.
But wait, there's more.
Dun, dun, dun. So, the Alaska Triangle stretches from Juneau in the south to Anchorage in the middle to, Aokigahara. I am thinking that is a typo. So it stretches somewhere to the most northern tip or the most northern point of Alaska. The number of people reported missing in Alaska alone each year is twice as high as the national average. So
Really?
take the number of people missing in the United States within a year, double that, and that's how many go missing in Alaska alone each year.
I mean, Alaska is a fairly large state, but I know a lot of it is not populated.
Well, listen to this.
Right.
Since, most of it is not populated. It's very rugged terrain, and a lot of it's not even been explored yet. That's why I'll get to that. Since 1988, just 1988, that was not that long ago, you guys. That's like younger than me.
Wait, hold on. What year were you born?
86.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, 80s baby.
Anyway, sorry. Go on. I was like, no, you're lying.
No.
Because you look like, you're so, I mean, that's not old in general, but I thought you were like 90s.
No, I'm about to be 38. I think I lose track. 38, yep. This month.
You're beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Anywho.
So since 1988, more than 16,000 people have gone missing in the Alaska Triangle. Or maybe Alaska, whatever. For every 100,000 people in Alaska, 164 of those people have gone missing.
Really?
Which is insane. Yes.
Yeah.
More than 2,000 planes have crashed or vanished there in the last 20 years. 2,000, you guys. 2,000 planes, y'all. That's crazy in just 20 years' time. So what could cause so many plane crashes and people to go missing? Well, Alaska has some of the most difficult terrain and rugged mountains, dense forests, and glaciers. It also has extremely cold weather and snowstorms that sometimes make it impossible to pass through. It also has the highest number of private planes in the United States. So the higher number of planes, of course, the plane crash numbers are going to go up. But more than 16,000 people going missing in just 37 years? Could there be other things causing these people to go missing? There's local folklore that describes strange creatures appearing out of thin ear? Appearing out of thin ears. Strange creatures appearing out of thin air. And then don't forget about the Dark Pyramid. It supposedly provides a charging station for alien spacecraft to recharge. There have been more UFO sightings in Alaska than anywhere else in the United States. There's even been videos taken of entire fleets of UFOs in the Alaskan skies. Some people believe that there are mysterious beings being transported from other realms. Okay, so this is what I was saying. Being transported from other realms through portals within the Alaskan Triangle. These mysterious beings may be taking people and transporting them back into other realms with the monster creatures. Mm-hmm. The U.S. Department of the Interior did a geological survey in the area and discovered negative magnetic anomalies that are prevalent in the area. They can wreak havoc with guidance systems, compasses, and other electrical equipment. There are theories that these anomalies can spawn portals or doorways into other dimensions, possibly letting these creatures in or people wandering into these doorways, these portals, and disappearing. So what is it that is making these people and planes disappear? Well,
that's a good question.
Let's talk about the first possibility. In the
aliens.
It's always aliens. In the southern part of Alaska's Kenai Peninsula, 200 kilometers or 124 miles south of Anchorage, there is an abandoned town called Portlock. This story is crazy. This
I'm
town
listening.
used to be a successful cannery town. The town began to be terrorized by a Sasquatch, a Bigfoot, locals referred to as the Portlock Sasquatch, also known as Nantinaq. It's said that the Sasquatch, or Nantinaq, attacked and killed people. Now, if you've listened to our episode, I believe it was the episode Spooky Myths, I think, where I talked about the Boggy Creek monster here in Arkansas, where I usually am. It also attacked people, an entire family, actually, and those are documented attacks that had evidence such as footprints and extreme damage to the exterior of the home. So attacks from Sasquatch are not unheard of. Back in Portlock, when Portlock was founded in 1787, it was settled in an area that hadn't previously been explored. It still had the extreme wildlife in the area, and it was just a hard way of life. Nothing had even been explored, nothing had been set up, it wasn't for the faint of heart. Only the strongest could survive living in the area. The settlement became very successful in canning salmon. This industry brought in seasonal workers and money for the town. You might be wondering, if the town was so successful, why is it now abandoned? Well, in 1905, so fast forward a long time from 1787 to 1905, some strange and terrifying events begin to occur. And I'd like to point out that it could have happened before this as well, but recording history might not have been so great at that time, keeping records of this activity. But in 1905, at night, the camps were being harassed by a strange, large creature. When the next season started and the workers came back to work, they had the same issue. Camps were being messed with by some large, mysterious creature. Then there were the hunters and gold miners from the town. Groups of hunters and miners would leave their homes to work, but they would never return. It was assumed that they had succumbed to accidents from their work. That is, until the activity with this creature increased. In 1931, not that long ago if you really think about it, 1931, a local woodchopper was working alone in the forest. He was later found murdered. He was killed by a single blow, and the results of that single blow were so completely devastating that it was believed that it could not have been made from a man making that blow. A man just is not strong enough to make such a devastating blow. So
Maybe it was a horse.
Did you say a horse?
Yeah. He got kicked in the chest.
Oh, no, maybe. So then what killed him? Evidence of the murder was found later when a group of hunters were tracking moose. The moose's tracks ended, but there was no moose to be found. However, where the moose tracks ended, they did find the entire area destroyed. Branches were broken off. It was just all the limbs of the trees, everything in that area was broken, and there was blood everywhere.
Okay.
There were also footprints, and these footprints were more than 46 centimeters or 18 inches long. And that's equivalent to a size 32 shoe in the United States. 32. I wear a size 6. So this foot is gigantic. So here's where the moose tracks ended, in the bloody area. And the giant footprints were found to lead away from there. So to me, that says that the thing with big feet killed the moose and then likely carried it away with it to another location. So whatever this thing was had massive feet, and it was strong enough to kill a freaking moose and strong enough to carry the damn thing. So
what could that is insane. Size, you said 32?
Yeah, 32 shoe by U.S. standards.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
So soon after this event, more footprints were found around the village. One of the residents was down at the beach when he saw what looked like a giant hairy man destroying the fish wheels that they used to process the salmon. And the resident ran to his home to get his gun. When he got back to the beach, the beast stared at him and then walked away. After this, the sightings of the Sasquatch or Nantinaq became common. These are people that are used to some of the most massive wildlife in the country. They regularly would see wildcats, bears, and such. No big deal to them. However, this creature that had been seen is terrifying them. You might say that the giant hairy creature that was eating their fish was a bear. Well, these people knew what bears looked like, and bears couldn't fit into a size 32 shoe. Anyway, the sightings of the creature were happening more and more. Then people began finding dead bodies around the village. These bodies were literally shredded. Many of the bodies found were in the bay, were washing up in the bay. This suggests that trappers and miners that were out in the forested area had been surprised by something and killed, and their bodies entered the rivers that fed into the bay. So in a span of just 2 years, so I don't even know how many in the entirety of this issue, but in a span of just 2 years, over 30 people were found dead or missing. And as the body count rose...
And that seems like a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot. And to be found shredded, and then like that people are seeing this Bigfoot creature and seeing the footprints. Over 30 people, it's crazy. But as the body count rose, people began leaving the village. By 1950, the village had been abandoned. So like I said earlier, the people of this village called this Sasquatch Nantinak. It is said to be like Bigfoot, but with supernatural powers. Others attribute this incident to a demon of the forest. Now, 70 years later, people were going back to Portlock. The community of Nonwalak is struggling. The town is too small to support the growing population. There's little room, few resources, and limited opportunity. And because of this, the town folk have decided to reclaim the land that they still own, which is the land of Portlock. And with a blessing from the elders, a scouting team was sent to check out Portlock. This team included one of the descendants. Oh, I believe they were all some type of descendant from somebody, but one of them was a descendant from the elders of the original Portlock community.
Okay.
Before the team...
The elder, like, it always seems so much more like more real when like straight up townsfolk, like I guess elders or regulars or whatever, get involved and are like really thinking something is going on.
Yeah,
you know?
And they're
Instead
trying
of it
to
just being
take
like
this
official
land back.
Yeah.
Like, it's very important that they need this land for their community to survive, basically, to continue thriving. And so they're going back to see if this thing is still there and what they could do about it, you know, to get this land back. Well, before the team even reached the town of Portlock, so they've gotten to the beach with their boats. As they were walking on the beach, they found a huge piece of machinery just sitting in the tree line. This piece of machinery had to weigh hundreds and hundreds of pounds. I mean, it was metal, and they had no idea how it got all the way down from the town into the tree line of this beach. Further down the beach, closer to the town, they found machine parts and pipes that were smashed to bits and scattered all over the beach. They said it looked like a bomb went off. So something had been ripping apart this machinery and throwing it all over the place. Then they had heard repetitive banging coming from the trees, like something knocking on the trees, but really loud. And they saw an area of the trees where the entire trees were swaying and knocking off snow. Now, I know this story is going to be kind of scattered because, and I'm posting the link to this, it comes from episodes from Discovery UK and Alaskan Killer Bigfoot, and there are 9 videos, and these are just short videos because obviously you need to go and watch the episodes. But I just watched the 9 short videos, so this is what I got. So at another point, they were inside their tent. They were inside their tent when they started getting hit by rocks and stuff, just hitting their tent, and something was throwing things at them. They when they showed the rocks that were hitting them, these were big rocks. I mean, they were bigger than my head. I got a big head. And
you do not.
I do. I gotta have big hats. But their campsite had also been destroyed, like their table had been thrown over while they were inside the tent. At another point, you guys, this is an area where there are no people. So there's not just going to be people in the forest throwing things. There are no people here. At another point, there are other people that are brought in to help them. I think it was a helicopter, if I remember right, that they flew in on. And they were brought in to help them with other possible paranormal explanations. And the group's sitting around the fire talking about their experiences. And one of them says that he believes that they are actually dealing with some type of elemental demon. That may be so, because during one night, one of the members had something whispering in his ear. And it sounded like chains dragging underneath him. He was in a deer stand trying to get an eye up there. And it sounded like chains dragging on the floor right below him, and then he hears something whisper in his ear. Or is it aliens? They found a small obelisk structure on the land. And we've talked about in the past episode, obelisks are conductors of energy, most likely attached to aliens. And when they took out their compass, the obelisk messed with the compass. It made it spin in all these random directions. And one of the men started chipping away at the obelisk with a knife. And there's this weird white powdery looking stuff on it. And he smelled it, and he immediately became very sick. And he threw up. And a lot of people on this little mission were getting sick from terrible smells that they would smell, or just strange things that were happening. They would get these really intense, sickening stomach feelings, Whatever it is, they did a cleansing of the land. There was a demonologist in the group. He took a mix of rose water, sage, and holy water. He put it in large containers, and he attached it to this giant spray gun, but he sprayed it over the land while saying phrases to try to rid the land of negative energy. After this cleansing, the paranormal group leaves, so we're back to the original group of 4 men. They switched to red lights because it said that Bigfoot won't show itself in white light. They have red headlamps on, and they separate from each other to film different areas of the forest at night. And there are heavy footsteps that are heard, and loud bangs, or what they were calling tree knocks, kept being heard, as well as big sticks being broken around them in the forest. And then there were these weird flashes of light, like right in front of them, that looked like a camera flash or like a lightning flash, but it was just on the ground in front of them. And nobody was using any kind of flash bulbs. And then there were these weird vocal noises, similar to howls, but not like a dog howl. It sounded like monstrous. And the camera lights and equipment, they all kept quickly losing all of their battery life and shutting off. So is the Nanti Knock a Bigfoot, aliens, a demon, or something else paranormal?
What if Bigfoot is an alien?
Yeah. Or from another dimension through a portal. And that's what the flashing lights are. Him going back and forth.
That's right. It's got a portal.
Yeah.
Got to travel somewhere. Put on his blinker.
You guys, please remember to put on your blinkers. Man. All right.
Totally random.
Yeah.
Speaking of blinkers, I heard that the reason why California drivers are just off, like, it's common culture here that you don't put on your blinker when you're trying to turn or get into another lane or something, because people think it's like a competition, and they're like, oh, you're trying to get over, I'm just going to speed up and ruin your whole fucking day.
Yes.
I put on my blinker and I'm sitting here yelling at people like, let me over, please, just let me over, I'm not trying to cut you.
So true.
And then Adam says that he puts on his blinker only as he is getting over. Like, he doesn't do it, like, because,
you guys, put on your blinker every time you turn or change lanes. Just do it.
Please.
We had our emergency flashers on when we lived in California, and that pot of hot oil poured over my hand and literally burned all the skin off of my hand. Do you remember that? That might have been right before I met you, actually.
Yeah, I was like, anyways, I don't recall that.
We were rushing to the hospital, and it was the worst pain of my fucking life. I mean, when I got there, I had round and round of morphine given to me, and it did nothing. Absolutely nothing. It was the worst. They said that when I was there, and in the burn unit for like a month after, they said that it was, that pain was worse than giving birth, and I would totally believe it. It was horrible. But anyways, we were in the car racing to the hospital with our flashing lights and honking at people. And it was like they would purposely get in front of us to stop us from going around them. And California, get your freaking act together.
Yes.
Get it together.
Please. Anyway.
Okay, so some other Alaska Triangle stories. So in 2015, scientists at the Alaskan Earthquake Center picked up from a remote seismic monitoring station, the Cold Teeth River Mountain Station. They picked up some action going on, and this reading showed something massive moving in the area. Now, they knew this wasn't an earthquake because based on the data, it didn't look like anything like an earthquake, but it was massive movement. They discovered that the seismic monitoring device was smashed by some creature on the surface. So it had to be some big creature to smash that and then also cause that kind of massive seismic activity. And it is being suggested that this creature is a prehistoric mammoth.
Oh no.
Now, mammoths, according to science, died out thousands of years ago. Bruce Schindler is from Skagway, Alaska, in the southwest of Alaska Triangle. Bruce is an ethical ivory carver. Now I'm thinking ethical. How do you ethically get ivory for carving? Well, Bruce travels Alaska.
Oh, sorry.
You probably know. In search of mammoth tusks. He buys mammoth tusks from gold miners, and he uses these tusks. It's like a tongue twister for me to say tusks. He uses these tusks to carve beautiful sculptures, and in an effort to he does this in an effort to combat the elephant ivory ban. So I guess it's good he isn't using ivory from poor elephants that were killed by poachers. He finds numerous tusks underground in Alaska, since it was a perfect place for mammoths thousands of years ago. So that right there proves that this area of Alaska is a really good location for mammoths. And yes, the tusks he's finding underground are thousands of years old, but Dr. Lance Hightower, an expert in cryptozoology, has found evidence that mammoths might have actually survived even into modern days. He read an article from the early 1900s about a U.S. scientist who had just returned from the interior of Alaska. This scientist had come across a trail of frozen prints that couldn't have been made by anything except a giant beast. He says they were too large for modern-day elephants, so larger than modern-day elephant feet. They seemed fresh, so these were fresh prints. With the weight and depth of the print, it's something he's never seen before. The scientist, Dr. John Frizzell, believed that he had found a fresh track of what could have been a mammoth. The same story was in 3 different newspapers. Now, these were all well-respected newspapers, and Dr. Frizzell was accompanied by 3 other men that verified this account. So it is a credible account. I don't know if I'm going to say this correctly. Kitavitog Likchar, also known as Q, we're going to go call him Q, is a shaman and Native Alaskan folklorist. He believes modern science may not have it right when it comes to mammoths. In Native Alaskan communities, storytelling is a crucial part of passing down knowledge. And Q asks a good question. He says, why would Native Americans have such detailed stories about hunting mammoths if it was thousands of years ago? Q believes that mammoths have been hunted as recently as 200 years ago. Dr. Hightower has gone through articles dating back from 1889 to early 1900s. They talk about explorers that interact with the Alaskan natives. The explorers are baffled when the natives draw pictures in the sand of large animals that we would consider to be woolly mammoths. The researchers that were there watching these natives draw these pictures of mammoths, they were given ivory by the Alaskan natives to prove that these animals existed. The Alaskan natives said that there were more than one of these beasts, and his hunting group had killed them. And the researcher looked closely at the ivory, and he saw fresh blood stains. And it didn't look like 1,000-year-old ivory, you know. Well, the articles of these accounts are only from 100 years ago, so these animals would be in modern times. So could some hikers have gone missing coming across a mammoth, you know? Did they try to pet a mammoth? Because
I would hope not.
If I came across a woolly mammoth, I very well might die trying to pet it and cuddle it.
I would take a picture of it. I would definitely not try to pet it. But, yep, I would take a picture for sure.
That's how I'm going to die. Cuddles. What about people that went missing while on boats or being on the water? Well, in November 2016, there was a sighting. The sighting occurred at the Chena River in Fairbanks, in the center of the Alaskan Triangle. A video was taken of the sighting. This video appeared to be linked to the Alaska Bureau of Land Management, so it is a legit video. It's from a government worker and photographer, Craig McCaw. He was out on a routine job inspecting... Sorry, my allergies are really getting to me here.
Don't worry about it.
He was inspecting the river from a bridge. He said, I was walking out on the bridge that you can see behind me here and taking some photos of ice beginning to form. This is in late October, which is early winter in Fairbanks, and took out my camera, pointed it in this direction, and my attention was caught by a movement in the water right beneath me. I looked down in the water and I did a total stop. He saw what looked like, and I posted this video as well. He saw what looked like a giant serpent-like creature with ice along its back. And the creature was swimming upstream against a fast-flowing current. So it wasn't just something floating down the water. It was actively swimming upstream against the current. And part of the creature that you could see is said to be about 20 feet long, meaning it is likely longer since the entire body was not visible. Could it be possible that a prehistoric creature lives in the waters of Alaska? If you think
100%.
If you think no, you might want to rethink that. The lamprey fish I talked about in the last episode were around 200 million years before the dinosaurs, and they're still around. And those fuckers dropped out of the sky in the Alaska Triangle. So I think it's safe to say anything is possible.
Yeah, I was going to bring up those things that just dropped out of the sky. I'm like, you know what? Alaska's just weird.
It is. So I've talked about Bigfoot. What about other cryptids in Alaska Triangle? I think this is the last part of my Alaska Triangle bit, but it really could go on for forever. There's so much in Alaska. If you go to Alaska and you plan on exploring, you go watch yourself, watch your back, watch your butt, be careful. So what about other cryptids in Alaska? What else could be making someone disappear? Let's talk about the Kushtaka, also called the Otterman. According to legends, the Kushtaka are a species of large, hairy, humanoid figures that have otter-like facial features in most depictions. Basically, imagine a Bigfoot otter mashup, and you've got the basic idea. And this information about the Kushtaka I got from the Morbid Library, which is themorbidlibrary.com. I'm posting that as well. And the article is Creepy Cryptids, Kushtaka. So, Kushtaka have the ability to shapeshift, though how extensive that ability varies from story to story. In some variations of the legend, Kushtaka can only shape between its Bigfoot otter form and human form. In other variations, it is able to shift freely between many forms. Some more sensational claims describe it as being more like a demon than a flesh and bone cryptid, and it has a distinctive call that is described as a high, low, high whistling pattern. So is that like?
Yeah, or doo 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 doo.
There are a few different variations in the legend of the Kushtaka. In one variation, the Kushtaka is seen as evil or cruel, playing tricks and luring sailors and small children to their cold, watery graves. They are apparently able to make sounds that resemble crying babies or screaming women to lure their prey into the water, where they then kill them and use their claws to rip and tear them apart. Other tales of the Kushtaka describe them as being helpful and rescuing those that have wandered too close to the water and have gotten lost. In these tales, the Kushtaka conjure images of the lost person's family, but like with otterish features. And these images calm the lost person down, and then the Kushtaka turns the lost person into a Kushtaka, and it allows that individual to survive that harsh climate. So it's like, yay, you saved me, but damn, I'm a Kushtaka forever. But if you want to ward these Kushtakas off to protect yourself, Kushtaka are afraid of dogs, and why can I not say dog?
Darg.
Dargone it. A dog's bark will make the Kushtaka transform back into its main otter-like form. Dog bones can also be used to defend against the Kushtaka. The same can be said for copper. Some stories also claim that Kushtaka shy away from fire and urine. So just pee on him.
I mean, yeah, that's natural.
There are countless more accounts of the Alaskan Triangle involving cryptids, aliens, and the paranormal. So check it out for yourself because you won't be disappointed. What you got for us, Miranda?
Okay, my turn. So, my first story is called The Eternal Flame Falls. And this is one of those scientific phenomenons where I'm like, what? Oh my god, like I can't figure it out. The scientists can't figure it out, but it's really fucking cool. And I mean, obviously, there really isn't a lot of evidence for like spookiness about it, but it's cool. So, let me begin. Hidden deep within the Shell Creek Preserve.
I'm
in
loving
Western
this already.
New York. In New York lies the world's most enchanting wonder. And I say enchanting because if you see these pictures, it's just literally waterfall and then there's like a little cave behind the waterfall that has a flame just going. Or if you see a video, the flame is just going bloop, 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 and it's just there forever.
Bloop, bloop,
It's the Eternal Flame Falls. So the waterfall is 35 feet tall and has that tiny flickering flame. Well, okay, it's not super tiny. It's like 8 inches. The flame itself is 8 inches tall. The legend that goes along with this beautiful flame is that it was lit by Native Americans thousands of years ago. And, you know, scientists and visitors alike, when they see this, it's like, oh my god. Like, I had no idea that something like that was in New York. It makes me actually want to visit because I'm like, that's insane.
I didn't either.
So, yeah. For a long, long time, the biggest theory was that the flame was there because of a gas pocket that was rising from like very, very hot shale. And that's like obviously a type of rock. So the rock's high temperatures were thought that to be a breakdown of like the carbon molecules, and they would create natural gas to fuel the flame. So just pretty much that gas pocket was at one point just ignited, and then it's been there. However, a recent study led by Professor Arndt Schimmelman from Indiana University was like, I don't know about this. So he dived deeper. His team discovered that the shale that's beneath the waterfall is definitely not hot enough to produce the gas pockets. He also explained, quote, this flame and these sea pages have occurred for millions of years in those areas, and we know that the source rock, about 400 meters deep, is not very warm. It should not even be able to produce much gas at this temperature, yet the gas is coming and it's not being depleted. So our hypothesis is that a different mechanism is responsible for continuous gas generation at the depth, end quote. So, this leads the Eternal Flame Falls even more mysterious because freaking researchers were like, it's gas pockets. And they go,
Nope.
actually not. So, everybody is still just puzzled over what keeps the flame alive. There are a lot of eternal flames across the globe, but this one, the one in Shell Creek Preserve, actually stands out in my opinion because it's beautiful. It is just beautiful, and it's more readily visitable, I guess. Is that a word? Visitable? You can visit it. Visitable. It's easier to visit it. And I would really just want to take pictures, you know?
That'd be a really good trip.
Yeah. And honestly, I guess this flame too, it's immune to like the elements, so it's immune to the wind, it's immune to the water because it's behind a freaking, waterfall. But apparently there are hikers that do reignite the flame, I guess. I couldn't find out much information on this. Or maybe they just like throw sticks into it or something just to make sure that it doesn't go out. That'd be something I want to see.
Reignite would mean that it went out.
Yeah.
So maybe they're just like feeding the fire with sticks, which is like, what's the point if it's still burning on its own?
Yeah, I feel like maybe it's more like a symbolic thing, that they wanted to be a part of like the eternal flame,
I could see that.
Because I could see it. Yeah, exactly. So that was my theory. So that was a really short one, and I thought it was very interesting.
Yeah.
Just because it's beautiful. I'll have to upload
so cool to see.
Yeah. I'm going to put a photo of it in my little notes thing so you can see. I just forgot to do it, apparently. I thought I did. Anyway.
I don't know.
So, it's not in there. I just scrolled through and it wasn't there.
Oh, yeah. Eternal Flame Falls. Open link. Let's see. Oh, I can't open it. I have no internet here. Just kidding.
The next story I have is about the Hoia-Baciu Forest, and I know I'm saying that wrong. I am so sorry. Hoia-Baciu Forest. So this is a forest that is in Transylvania.
Oh.
I know. So
Does it have to do with vampires?
I mean, we'll see. See, obviously, whenever you hear Transylvania, you're thinking of Dracula or vampires or like, people go to Transylvania for the most part, like, ooh, I want to see the Count Dracula,
Or I want
they
to suck
visit
your blood.
they visit like the castles that are there, and it's beautiful, right? But there is this really neat forest. So I don't know what hectares are, but it says covering over 250 hectares. The forest has earned the monikers Romania's Bermuda Triangle.
I think it's just a form of measurement, but
yeah,
I wouldn't be able to tell you how far that is in miles or whatever.
no.
Inches.
Or acres.
I don't know.
Yeah. I guess this is actually, quote, the world's most haunted forest, because there are a lot of unexplained and eerie events that occur within the forest. The vegetation of the forest is also kind of creepy and can give you goosebumps. The trees there, they're like twisted and they spiral.
Ooh, cool.
Around, like, yeah, they're not like shooting straight up like they should. It's, people say it's if the trees are reaching out to touch you. And mysteriously, they all turn in a clockwise direction. Like if the trees are like spiraling, they're spiraling in a clockwise direction.
All of them?
So, yeah. And so despite scientists' best efforts to understand the growth patterns, they really have no idea why they're all spiraling in the same direction, which I'm like, whoa, what a fascinating natural phenomenon, right? Ooh, or it could be supernatural, I don't know.
I wonder I wonder what kind of like mycelium they have there. Is it mycelium?
Oh, yeah. Like the mushrooms? The fungi?
The connection of all of them under the ground, because trees actually talk to that, and trees actually talk to each other. Like, one tree can tell another tree, hey, I need these certain minerals, and that tree can send it over, and trees know within miles which trees came from them, like which are their tree babies and stuff. And I know that all sounds crazy, but it's so freaking awesomely true.
That's fascinating, actually.
So I don't know, maybe they're all talking to each other and they're like, okay, we're dancing this direction and
twist.
Dancing
that direction, yeah.
I don't know.
In this forest, there's what is called a dead zone. It's a very infamous dead zone. This is a nearly perfect circle that's within the forest that does not have any vegetation. It's just a circle with no trees, like just randomly.
Aliens.
In the soil, aliens, yeah. The soil samples that have been taken from the dead zone give no clues as to why nothing is growing there. It's also a hotspot for paranormal activity.
Maybe it's a portal.
Yeah, it's a portal. When you step into the dead zone, apparently you're enveloped by the feeling of being eerily detached from the rest of Transylvania.
Ooh, because you're in the middle of transporting.
Yeah. One local legend tells of a young girl who vanished into the forest for years.
Wait,
only to reappear. Yes, she came back 5 years later, unchanged. With no memory of her disappearance.
Unchanged? Yep. That's like, there's just like a TV show about that or something, where they all go away on an airplane, and when they come back, they're all the same.
Yeah, that one's called Manifest. Yeah.
Yes! That's such a good show.
Mm-hmm. I haven't finished it, but
I haven't either.
What I watched was pretty fun.
Yeah, it is good.
So she had no memory of her disappearance. It was just as if she walked in and walked out the same day, but it was not the same day. Wow. Another legend is that there is a shepherd who entered the forest with his flock of 200 sheep, but he was never seen again. I mean, that's not a small number to be lost, 200 sheep, and like not even one stray sheep was found.
Oh wait, none of the sheep were found either?
Yeah, no, none of the sheep.
Oh, those poor sheep.
They're probably living with the fairies, happily dancing away,
Well, I hope they're happy.
The forest's fame, it became more well known in 1968 when military technician Emil Barnia captured photos of a UFO.
Yes.
Yeah, so there's been a lot at this forest. There's supernatural disappearances, weird trees, and now aliens. So I guess it was a sunny August afternoon, and Barney and his friends saw a shining silver disc in the sky. He managed to take 4 photos before the object vanished, and despite skepticism and theories that they were weather balloons, no investigations found an explanation. Like, there weren't any records or anything of the weather balloon, and the photos did not show any sign of tampering. And I think that link, too, has the pictures of the photos. Well, let me just verify, just really quickly, that they'll have pictures of the photos. Oh, my screen went black again. Okay. Oh, no, it doesn't. I'll upload that one manually. Okay. Where'd it go? So visitors more recently, whenever they visit the forest, they report very strange experiences. Like I said before, some feel weird when they step into the dead zone. But just in the forest, people are saying that they're feeling an overwhelming sense of anxiety, and they have that sensation of being watched. Other people say that other people leave the forest with unexplained bruises and scratches. And they were like, oh my God, where'd this come from? I don't remember getting hurt.
Maybe there's like a high EMF in that area, but then it's like, well, where is the EMF coming from?
Exactly.
Could it be underground?
Some people believe that the forest is actually haunted by the spirits of peasants that were murdered there a long time ago. Because that area has a history that dates back to Neolithic people, like a Neolithic settlement from 6500 BC.
Wow.
Like, there's been evidence of people there. That's crazy. Screaming black again. Hold on. There you go. So, also people say that they have seen ghostly apparitions. They've heard disembodied voices. And they've seen things, of course, out of the corner of their eye. A lot of people have heard giggling, actually. And of course, they've heard your average screams. And then, which I thought was interesting, the sound of hooves when no animals are present. And
it was sorry. Yeah. Immediately made me think of this movie called Freddy Got Fingered. Have you seen that?
Oh, no, I haven't.
It's from whenever I was younger. But there's this part where he has hooves, and he's like, look at my hooves, Daddy, look at my hooves. Sorry. Okay, go on.
Okay. Also, orbs of light and faces have appeared in photographs. And so when people are taking photographs as they're visiting, they see orbs and then they say faces. And then some say that the faces have glowing green eyes and that they're staring at them from the darkness. I also, when I was reading about this, there was this guy who wrote like a sort of blog about his time staying there. And he was saying that he was talking to a dude, like, hey, can you stay out here in this forest with me? And the dude was like, no way. I'm not going to do that again. And he was like, oh, okay, what happened the first time? So I guess the other guy went out camping with a few friends, and whenever they were in the tent trying to sleep, they were hearing the sound of hooves. And whenever they would open up the tent or open up the window to look outside, there is nothing around. But the hooves seemed very close to them, and it was really loud and whatever. So then the next night, he decided to sleep in a hammock, strung up between 2 trees so he can be able to more quickly open his eyes and see what the hooves are going through. But I guess he, whenever he was sleeping, a bat flew into his face. And he was like, okay, no, I'm not going to continue with this, and then just dipped out. And we're like, I'm not going to stay the night ever again.
It was a vampire.
I mean, nothing crazy actually happened, but yeah, he was just like, he wanted to get out before something crazy happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like what most people should do. All right, back to the main story. The supernatural claims that visitors have made have also often included the shadowy figures that are darting between trees, or they're hovering in the periphery of their vision. We've all had that experience, right? They see something in the corner of our eye, but whenever you look directly at it, it's like gone. They see a ton of that. Some adventurers report that they are being touched or pushed, and of course, they get hurt a little bit. Like I said before, some of the people, they get hurt, but they don't remember feeling anything. Excuse me. And then there is the natural sudden drop of temperatures and strange mists that float in the distance that really spook people out. Yes. Another thing that I thought was quite interesting, because it kind of goes along with the dead zone and, a portaling out and then portaling back in, is tales of time slips. So visitors have reported losing hours of time when only minutes had passed for them.
Aliens.
Yep. And others said that they have encountered people that were dressed in old-fashioned clothing, and they go to talk to them. At this point, they're thinking, oh, it's actually a real person. Maybe they're having an event, or they're just dressing up or taking pictures. Who knows? But when they go to approach them, they're just gone.
Ghosts.
Oh, yeah. Ghosts.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
What'd you do?
I was putting my foot up on the chair, and I hit it on the desk, on the ankle.
Aww.
Yeah. Now, going back to the laughing, which I always think it's so creepy whenever there's children involved, that makes it even worse. But there are way more sightings of ghostly children playing along the trees than the shadowy figures and stuff. So these spectral children are the ones who are laughing and running, and they vanish as soon as anyone tries to approach them. And a lot of people, they just hear the laughter echoing through the forest and, making their experience there very unnerving, to say the least. Honestly, people say despite its eerie reputation, it's a really nice place to visit. It has the twisted trees and a very unique landscape. So
it's a very nice place to visit. You might disappear for 5 years, but you'll come back.
Yeah, I mean that's what people say. That there's a lot of people that go in and.
Well, the sheep and the man never came back.
Yeah, that is very true.
So enter at your own risk.
Exactly. Enter at your own risk. I do not encourage any visits of anything we talk about, except for maybe the Eternal Flames, because that's pretty.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, those are my first two.
That's very much like the Alaska Triangle. It's oh, that's a ghost. Oh, aliens. Oh, vampires. Oh, there's a portal.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. My next one to kick off or to end my segment of this comes from the Y Files, which, like I said, awesome. You gotta check it out on YouTube, the Y Files. It's from the top 10 scariest places you can actually visit right now, if you dare. Eastern State Penitentiary, situated in Philadelphia, was globally renowned as the most famous prison. I can't read tonight. Okay. With its remarkable architecture and strict discipline, it operated from 1829 to 1971, housing numerous inmates, including notable figures like Al Capone and Willie Sutton, which, fun fact, Al Capone's and a lot of other mobsters, their getaway vacation area was Hot Springs, Arkansas, at the bathhouses.
Well, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. It was supposed to be neutral ground, which, of course, if you go to Hot Springs, Arkansas, there's still bullet holes in some of the bars and stuff, be it from the mobsters, and there's a pretty cool mobster museum, and there are these underground tunnels and everything. Anyways, it's really cool. So Al Capone and Willie Sutton, they were at the Eastern State Penitentiary. It is believed to be one of America's most haunted sites. Reports of ghostly occurrences such as echoing voices, shadowy figures, and spectral faces have been validated by various witnesses, including staff, guards, visitors, and even inmates have witnessed this. Serving as the world's initial penitentiary, it aimed to instill true remorse in the convict's heart. The mad chair restrained a prisoner's limbs so tightly that amputation became necessary due to restricted circulation. The iron gag method involved binding an inmate's hands behind their back, inserting an iron collar into their mouth, and causing severe injuries, including torn tongues. And I mean, if they moved at all, their tongue would be ripped, and sometimes their tongues were ripped out of their mouths. So,
ouch.
Great way to rehabilitate people. Jesus. The hole referred to an underground cell, so solitary confinement. It was devoid of light, It had no toilet facilities, no exercise, no human interaction, and sufficient nourishment for survival was not given. And as the inmate population escalated, solitary confinement was phased out. By 1926, overcrowding led to over 1,700 inmates crammed into cells designed for solitary occupancy. So there's supposed to be one person per cell, and there's like 2 or 3 in a cell together instead. In 1933, a riot erupted due to overcrowding, and it resulted in inmates setting fire to cells in cell block 12, now a notable hub of paranormal activity. Visitors have reported hearing cell doors opening and closing, detecting smoke odors, and witnessing shadowy figures traversing the catwalk. Those intrigued by Eastern States history can explore it firsthand through day and night tours, like the tour Terror Behind the Walls. Then we have the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, also known as Weston State Hospital, as a psychiatric facility operational in Weston, West Virginia, from 1864 to 1994, spanning, okay, here's the thing. It spans 666 acres, and it's got...
That's what? That's a very... We all know what that number
and it's got
represents.
Yeah. How many structures do they have on those acres, you ask? 13.
666? Oh, okay. 13.
13. The asylum, envisioned as a place of healing for the mentally ill, deteriorated into a site of mistreatment, agony, and inhumanity. Initially designed for 250 patients, it harbored over 2,600 individuals at its peak, leading to overcrowding and unhygienic living conditions. Of course, because money means more than actual humanity. Ugh, makes me sick. Additionally, the asylum admitted criminally insane individuals who coexisted with other patients. So they're just like, okay, we're going to take in the criminally insane, and you're just going to walk around and mingle with all the other patients like you're just one of them. Yay! In the 1980s, violent and uncontrollable patients were confined in communal areas in cages as a containment measure. So if they were too violent or couldn't be controlled, they would put them in a cage and just set this cage in the middle of a communal area where everyone's just, walking around.
That's kind of a lot awful.
Yes. In 1938, a report highlighted that the hospital accommodated individuals with epilepsy, alcoholism, drug addiction, and those deemed mentally unfit for education. And of course, I'm sure a lot of them were like women that their husbands were sick of them and they were told that this woman, my wife is crazy.
Or like people with postpartum depression or...
Yes. Dr. Walter Freeman, I don't know what kind of doctor he was, but he conducted experimental lobotomies using the ice pick method, inserting a metal rod into the eye socket and piercing the thin bone with a mallet to damage the prefrontal cortex tissue. Throughout his career, Dr. Freeman performed over 4,000 lobotomies, sometimes resulting in permanent brain damage in previously healthy patients, which I'm sure almost all of them had major brain damage.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And men are responsible for so much pain and suffering.
Truth. These procedures were carried out without gloves, anesthesia, or proper surgical training. The closure of the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum in 1994 was accompanied by the disappearance of its patients. So the patients, nobody knows where they ended up going. Leaving behind rooms still furnished with artwork and medical tools, and wheelchairs scattered in the hallways. Among the famous ghosts said to inhabit the asylum is a young girl named Lily, who was born, lived, and passed away within its walls. There are accounts of Lily enjoying holding visitors' hands and pulling on their clothing. Visitors have mentioned hearing her laughter and playing antics in the hallway close to her room on the first floor. Okay, another spirit, Elizabeth, is said to leave doors open. She's believed to be a nurse that is unaware of her passing. Additionally, ghost apparitions of patients who met violent ends, either through murder or suicide, have also been reported. In these rooms, visitors often experience a sudden drop in temperature and eerie whispers or voices close to their ears. The Trans-Allegheny grounds are accessible to everyone and provide a variety of tour options, including daytime, nighttime, and overnight tours. Then we have the Whaley House. The Whaley House is situated in historic Old Town San Diego, and it's renowned for its the most haunted dwelling in the United States. Its spooky reputation has been extensively documented in various forms of media for more than a century. This unsettling history dates back to 1852, when James Yankee Jim Robinson was executed for theft on the premises, witnessed by Thomas Whaley. So Thomas Whaley was there on this land where this dude was executed for theft. And Whaley must have been like, wow, this is some good land that this guy is being executed on. I think I'm gonna buy it.
Opportunist right there.
Because Whaley purchased the land and he constructed a residence. Despite achieving success in most endeavors throughout his life, misfortune seemed to follow the Whaley family once they moved into the newly constructed house in 1857. So building this home on this land was his and his family's undoing. At the age of 18 months, Thomas Jr., the son of Mr. Whaley, fell ill with scarlet fever and passed away in 1858. Soon after, malicious individuals set fire to Whaley's establishment. So one of his businesses, somebody set fire to it. Saddened by these misfortunes, the family decided to relocate to San Francisco because it's just too much going on. So they're like, we're going to leave this home. We're going to go to San Francisco. Unfortunately, their residence in California was soon ravaged by an earthquake, leaving them without financial resources, so they had no more money. So Thomas Whaley embarked on a journey. While his family's in San Francisco, Thomas Whaley embarked on a journey across the country in search of job opportunities, but unfortunately faced failure. As a result, the family had to return to the Whaley home. In 1885, Violet, the daughter of Thomas Whaley, tragically ended her own life at the Whaley House at the age of 22, following a tumultuous marriage and divorce with a local swindler. So she married a con man and ended up divorcing him, and then she was just overcome with the grief and probably the embarrassment of it back in that day. She took her own life, and subsequently Thomas Whaley, his wife Anna, as well as their children Francis, George, and Lillian, all passed away in that same house. Thomas Whaley himself succumbed to poor health in 1890. In 1960, the house was transformed into a museum, and shortly thereafter, individuals such as workers, staff, guests, and visitors began reporting experiences of hearing voices, detecting scents of cigars and perfume, and witnessing ghostly phenomena. During a local broadcast filming at the Whaley House in 1964, renowned TV personality Regis Philbin claimed to have encountered the apparition of Anna Whaley. Even in the later years, Regis remained firm in his belief that there was unearthly activity transpiring at the Whaley House. For 3 decades, many police officers saw a lady crying behind the house. One of them never spoke of it until he retired, but he later revealed encountering the same lady in vintage attire. Upon asking if she was okay, she smiled before vanishing when illuminated with a flashlight. So he put his flashlight on her, she smiled at him, and then she vanished. You can feel free to explore the Whaley House firsthand. You set up your tour.
The Whaley House is one of those houses, too, that I'm like, that sounds like a lot of fun to, try to visit.
Yes. Then we have in Princeton, West Virginia, we have Lake Shawnee Park. The theme park was established in 1926 to provide entertainment for families of local workers. The park's location has historical significance as it was once inhabited by a Native American community. In the late 18th century, the Clay family settlement attempts led to a violent conflict. So the Native American community and the Clay family that's trying to settle this area in the 18th century, they came to head with each other, and there were casualties from both sides, and all of the victims are buried on that land. Eventually, the property was acquired by a businessman who transformed it into an amusement park, because that's what you do on top of grave sites.
Makes sense.
Of course. It featured a swing set, a Ferris wheel, and a swimming pond. Each of those would tragically claim the life of a child. Over the years, Lake Shawnee expanded into a full-fledged amusement park where several fatalities occurred before its closure in 1966. Despite its closure, the park remains intact with structures and attractions still present. Could you imagine how creepy that is? Walk through?
But I don't want to.
A particular eerie element is a motorized swing machine on site, linked to a tragic incident where a young girl lost her life. So there was a little girl, I believe it might have been after the closure, I can't remember, but she had climbed up on the swing, and I don't know how she died, but in this video they said that she had like a horrific death. So I'm not sure what happened, but she was on the swing and she passed away. The current owner reports witnessing the swings moving even in the absence of wind, experiencing a chilling sensation and hearing whispers near the swing that's associated with the girl's death. Additionally, the owner's son claims to have seen a spectral vision of a bloodied little girl in a beautiful dress on the property. Lake Shawnee welcomes visitors at all times, offering the opportunity for the public to enjoy its amenities during the day, night, and for those interested, even stay overnight for camping. No, thank you.
Are you interested? Yeah, are you interested?
I mean, I would go check out the place, but camping there? No. I mean, you pay me enough money, I'll do it, but the abandoned Cincinnati subway. Obviously, it's in Cincinnati. In the beginning of the 1900s, Cincinnati held the position of the 10th most populous city in the United States. At that time, trade mainly relied on an intricate canal network that struggled to meet the increasing demands. As a result, numerous canals became contaminated and had to undergo cleaning and renovation, eventually creating breeding grounds for mosquitoes and contributing to the spread of diseases. To address these challenges, a decision was taken to construct a 16-mile railway system. Although construction work commenced below the surface in 1920, various unexpected setbacks hindered its progress. The bases of buildings lining the path of that railway that was underground, these buildings, the foundations of these buildings were deteriorating because of the digging underground, and they were collapsing into pits in the ground. Various other factors like legal disputes, financial constraints, and municipal misconduct hindered the progress. In 1929, 2 miles of the underground tunnel had been finished before the stock market crashed and the onset of the Great Depression, leading to the suspension of the project. So a lot of things occurred that made this project come to an end. Or not to an end exactly, but to a standstill. It was going slowly. Before the entire project actually was just, shut down, like these tunnels are done. We're done with these tunnels. They decided to turn them into a bomb shelter, a nuclear shelter, kind of like my very favorite video game of all time, Fallout. And they turned it, they turned it into a bomb shelter, and they brought citizens of Cincinnati down and did like an open house to be like, you could, buy this to help, save your family. You would have this, blah, 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 blah. And they were not impressed. So it ended up closing. They were declared out of service in 1991, and the access points were closed off, but there's certain equipment and furniture that is still inside of those tunnels. It still remains. So it'd be like going into an abandoned vault from Vault Tech in Fallout.
That I would totally love to do.
It would be really cool. But while it's possible to ask for a tour, gaining entry to this area from the city, they rarely approve your access for entry. Nevertheless, it has not deterred paranormal researchers or urban adventurers from actively searching for the concealed entryways, because supposedly there are some hidden entryways that have not been closed off, and people illegally go through them and check out stuff. So I'm not saying do that. I'm just saying they're there.
100%. Not endorsing crime. Oh my God.
No. Okay. Then we have Vulture City. It's located in Wickenburg, Arizona, about 70 miles north of Phoenix. Vulture City is a deserted ghost town, and it is located atop Vulture Mine. In the 1880s, the population of the settlement boomed, turning it into one of the most densely populated areas. In the southwestern populated regions, the mining industry's prosperity hastened Arizona's quest for statehood. So they're like, you're doing so great with gold mining. Oh, yeah, you're awesome. That's getting you ahead of the game and becoming part of, the United States. However, the riches from gold mining soon diminished, leading to the abandonment of the area. At its peak, Vulture City was home to more than 5,000 residents, contributing to an upsurge in criminal activities. Because, of course, population goes up, crime goes up. The rampant violence and corruption promoted the intervention of the United States Army to maintain order, because that's how bad it was. Though vigilante justice prevailed due to their ineffectiveness. So the Army was not up to par according to the citizens, so they were like, we're going to vigilante this shit. In Vulture City, the most severe offense was gold theft. You don't steal my gold, yo. It's punishable.
Yeah, that's when it was really worth something, right?
Yeah, it's punishable by public execution on a hanging tree, where numerous notorious criminals met their fate. Remarkably, Isn't that such a great song? Just like
very, very haunting.
It's haunting and catchy. It's beautiful sounding. It's horrible, absolutely horrible, but it sounds beautiful.
My son had that song on repeat. Like he had Alexa just play that hanging tree song on repeat. I'm like, are you serious right now, kid?
It's a horrible message, but it's so beautiful sounding.
That was pretty much his argument.
Yes. Well, he's a smart kid. He knows. The ironwood tree that served as the site for these executions still stands today. And if you were hanged, you would not be deserving of a cemetery burial. Instead, your remains were interred right beneath the tree at that location. So they were buried right under that tree, and that tree is still there today. Vulture City was known for its ability to bring wealth to a selected few at the cost of significant hardship and loss of life for many. Instances of violence and illness were rampant in the area. It is believed that hundreds of bodies, lie buried not only in the official cemetery but also throughout the entire town. The tales of chilling areas, strange voices, and spirits without bodies have drawn ghost investigators from various corners of the globe. According to some accounts, it is believed that employees who were trapped underground alive may have emitted cries for help as they battled to escape from the depths of their stony prison. If you happen to be in the vicinity of Phoenix, you have the option of joining a guided excursion of Vulture Mine or embarking on a self-guided exploration. Then I have 1, 2, 3, 4 more left. Do you want to read one or you want me to keep going?
You got it. You keep going.
Okay. Then we have the Ohio State Reformatory. It's also known as the Mansfield Reformatory, situated in Mansfield, Ohio.
What are they reforming? Please don't say it's like sexuality or something.
That had me eye roll so hard. Those groups that are like, I'm gonna get this gay out of you.
I know. Those things still exist now.
Yes. And there's one company that everybody loves to eat at that I can't say their name on here in fear of being sued. But supposedly they give money to groups like that do that kind of thing.
I heard that they actually stopped giving money to that because they had such backlash and lost a lot of business.
I don't know, but I don't give a shit. The fact that they did it to begin with and that they're just stopping just because they're like, oh, I'm getting picked on.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I don't know what the actual situation is, whether they did, whether they didn't, but I'm not going to say who it is. And I'm not going to say what kind of food is there because you'll immediately figure it out.
If you know, you know.
You know, you know. You don't know, you don't know. Anyways. Ugh, makes me sick. So, the Ohio State Reformatory, or the Mansfield Reformatory, situated in Mansfield, Ohio. It's a historic prison established in 1896 with a focus on rehabilitation rather than punishment. Yeah, okay. That's what they all say. Initially housing inmates for 18 months, the facility provided education, vocational training, and support for successful re-entry into society. Yay! Initially designed for 2,000 inmates, people got greedy. Overcrowding led to up to 3 prisoners sharing a cell by 1934, fostering a hostile environment where violence and weaponry became prevalent. In the 1960s, it transitioned into a high-security prison for the state's most dangerous offenders, resulting in increased violence and numerous fatalities, including suicides and escape attempts by inmates. In the 1980s, the situation deteriorated to the extent that the prisoners collectively filed a lawsuit against the state of Ohio for subjecting them to harsh and inhumane conditions. They emerged victorious in the legal battle, resulting in the closure of the prison. When it comes to the supernatural, incidents like doors slamming, individuals experiencing pushes and scratches, and devices being switched on and off have been reported. Ohio State Reformatory provides tours focusing on both its historical significance and paranormal activities. Additionally, they organize exclusive paranormal investigation tours and conduct workshops on ghost hunting. For a thrilling scare, consider participating in the Escape from Blood prison adventure, aiming to break free while being pursued by performers in the roles of guards, inmates, and specters.
I don't know. That's an intense, interactive experience for sure.
I don't know if I do it or not. I don't know. I couldn't, definitely not by myself. I don't know.
I know I would just be completely, traumatized.
Yes. Oh, I would have nightmares. The older I get, the more scaredy cat I get, I feel.
I have to agree with that. I feel the same way. Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm not young and brave anymore.
We know the risks, especially the more research we do. Like, I'm out here in the middle of the desert. I am not in the middle of the town of Roswell. I'm on the outskirts. Well, I'm still in Roswell, but we are out here in the middle of the desert, away from everything and everybody. So I go outside to take the trash out, and I'm walking across, and I gotta walk a long ways, and I put it in the dumpster, and I'm like, oh my god, is that a skinwalker I see? Oh no, it's just a yucca bush.
It's just a yucca bush, don't worry. We're fine.
This research gets to me all. Okay. Next we have the Mineral Springs Hotel. It can be found in Alton, Illinois. It's renowned as the most haunted small town in America. Alton, or is it Alton? I don't know. I'm going to say Alton. The grand opening of the Mineral Springs Hotel and Spa in 1914 was truly magnificent, boasting 5 levels of lavish rooms, an elegant marble staircase, and the state's most expansive swimming facility. The land housed a natural spring, but unfortunately the water flowing from it had a strong sulfur scent due to its high sulfur content.
And we all know sulfur comes from the depths of hell.
Yeah. Oh, that just sounded French. Oh. An expert chemist claimed that this water possessed miraculous healing abilities. Subsequently, the business started distributing a large quantity of sulfur water bottles nationwide on a daily basis. Eventually, the hotel experienced a decline and deterioration. Back in 1978, Mineral Springs underwent a renovation that transformed it into a complex featuring an antique mall, various offices, apartments, and a horror museum. Today, Mineral Springs is widely recognized as a hub for paranormal activities. Notably, one of its staircases is believed to be a particularly active spot. Legend has it that a tragic incident involving a woman, her husband, and another man unfolded on these very steps. The tale suggests that a confrontation led to the woman's untimely demise at the foot of the staircase, shrouded in the lingering scent of jasmine, the perfume she was said to have worn. The apparition of the Jasmine Lady is reputed to haunt the premises, with numerous sightings of other spectral entities reported throughout the property. Stories abound of a tall, slim male figure glimpsed in the bottling room, where unfortunate incidents, including drownings, have occurred over the years. Eerie occurrences such as phantom footprints, unexplained door movements, and the sensation of an unseen presence have left many visitors unsettled during their tours. It's like, how low can I get my voice?
I don't know.
Alright, we've got two more places.
Do voice exercises.
I could go really high, but I might hurt people's ears. Okay. Fort Delaware State Park. Fort Delaware, situated on P Island, P-E-A. Can't talk. Fort Delaware.
Not to be confused with P-E-E.
Yes, exactly. And it's not even P Island. I messed it up. Fort Delaware, situated on P Patch Island, P being P-E-A, P Patch Island in the Delaware River, was constructed. Oh, you know what's funny? The episode where I talked about Delaware and we were like, Delaware? And we're like, all that they have is corn and soybeans. They're soy corny in Delaware.
Soy corny.
Well, now we know there is a crazy place to go, and it is Fort Delaware. It was constructed initially to safeguard Wilmington and Philadelphia, but it gained notoriety as a prisoner of war camp, a POW camp, for Confederate soldiers during the Civil War. Over 33,000 soldiers were incarcerated there, with nearly 3,000 perishing from diseases like dysentery, scurvy, and smallpox, and among others. Sounds like the Oregon Trail game.
Yeah.
Their final resting place is a mass grave in New Jersey. General Albin Francisco Schoof. I don't know how to say his name. It's S-C-H-O-E-P-F. Schoof. I'm going to say Schoof. General Albin Francisco Schoof, also known as General Terror, oh, there we go, oversaw Fort Delaware, where thousands of prisoners endured appalling conditions in rudimentary wooden barracks infested with bedbugs, lice, and vermin. The food provisions were scarce and inedible, and decaying bodies and waste contaminated the water supply. Hunger and thirst plagued the prisoners, while guards played a cruel game called rat call, flooding rat holes to catch and kill the rodents. So they would flood the holes with water. The rats would run out, they would catch them and kill them, and then they would yell, "Rat call!" and then toss them into the crowd. But inmates would, try and grab these rats and probably beat the hell out of each other for them because they're starving. but they scavenged for the rats, as one diary account said, as if like boys running to gather apples. Like they're just going to gather the food.
Yeah,
and then
like-
they would cook the rats. They would boil them first. And they said they were surprisingly palatable. Well, yeah, if you're starving to death, almost anything's going to be palatable.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've seen people on Naked and Afraid eat worms and
Yes.
termites and...
Exactly. Fort Delaware is a favorite spot for those interested in Civil War history, where they can experience a vivid reenactment of daily life. However, the main attraction of Fort Delaware lies in the reported sightings of ghosts. According to visitors, these spirits are frequently spotted in various areas such as dungeons, halls, and rooms, with some even claiming to have heard mysterious voices. Additionally, photographic evidence has captured eerie, ghostly figures. There is an account about a 9-year-old drummer boy who attempted to flee the prison by concealing himself in a coffin. First of all, you put a fucking 9-year-old boy in prison. What is wrong with you? Because he's a drummer boy in the Civil War.
God.
That is... Regrettably, his escape plan was unsuccessful, leading to him being mistakenly buried alive. Legend has it that his ghost lingers on the premises, perpetually drumming and lamenting for assistance. Visitors have the opportunity to partake in ghost tours regularly, and for a more immersive experience, they can engage in an escape the island adventure. And then my last place is the Waverly Hills Sanatorium. Waverly Hills Sanatorium, situated in Louisville, Kentucky, was established in 1910 with the primary purpose of treating tuberculosis patients. However, due to a rapid increase in the number of patients by 1911, additional accommodations such as tents had to be constructed. The historical site is believed to have witnessed the passing of approximately 64,000 individuals, and that's probably just the ones on record. And these remains were interred on the premises without marked graves, so they're all buried all over that land, and none of them are marked. Nobody knows where the actual bodies are. So the lack of clear burial locations has added to the mystery around the site. To manage the high mortality rate, a structure known as the death chute was utilized to facilitate the movement of supplies. So when they get groceries or supplies or whatever they needed, they would bring them up in the chute. But deceased individuals were taken out of the sanatorium, out of the chute going down. This eerie tunnel is said to be haunted by spirits of the deceased. One of the notorious areas within the sanatorium is room 502, initially designated for nurses, where tragic events occurred, including suicides and unexplained disappearances. It's been said that like a nurse had ended her life in that room, and one nurse actually was said to have entered that room and just never came out. Like she just disappeared. Nobody knows what happened to her. And then there's also ghostly children, Bobby and Mary, and they're said to wander the corridors of Waverly Hills in search of their mother, calling out Mommy. Once a nursing home in the early 1960s, Waverly Hills closed down in the 1980s due to mistreatment of patients. And the Waverly Hills Historical Society offers guided tours and overnight accommodations, but reservations must be made more than a year in advance. And that is the end of my segment.
Okay. My next story is about again, I'm probably saying this wrong, but it's the Richat Structure, otherwise known as a possible location for Atlantis. But before we get there, I'm going to just talk about what the Richat Structure is and where it's located and all that stuff. The Richat Structure is also known as the Eye of the Sahara. And this location is a very breathtaking geological wonder. It's another one of those things that is just so fascinating to me. And when I look at it exactly, it's not beautiful per se, like the flaming eternal fire waterfall thing, but it's just so, what the heck, fascinating. But anyway, it is in the vast Sahara Desert. The Sahara Desert. So, you might be thinking, how might that be a location for the Atlantis? So, I'll get to that eventually. But this Richat Structure is a colossal circular formation that spans about 50 kilometers in diameter. And it's very, very big. It's so big that it can be seen from space. Like, you literally, if you were up there in space, you can look and you were hovering over the Sahara, you would literally be able to see this Richat structure. It also kind of resembles a giant watchful eye, which is why it's called the Eye of the Sahara, because there are like several different types of rings within the structure. So when you're seeing it from quite a distance, it looks like an eye. This structure has intrigued scientists, of course, and has obviously fueled many myths for many, many, many generations, which we'll get into and I love. Absolutely. I love these myths that are based off of like geological anomalies, you know, because it's like people's, before like science and before technology and social media, it was just people's way of trying to figure out and make sense of the world around them, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, anyway. The Richat structure is, like I said, is known as the Eye of the Sahara. It's also known as the Blue Eye of Africa, the Sahara's Eyes. So, if you heard any of those phrases, they're referring to the same thing. So, for this purpose, I will just kind of refer to it as like the Richat structure, just to make it nice and easy. So the vivid circles that you see within the structure are very like concentric. They're concentric circles, and it's one of the most recognizable landmarks, even though it's in a very, very remote location. And this remote location is also like mind-boggling too, because you're just like, you know, of all places, why is it in such a remote location? Okay, yes, it could have been a meteor that's hitting it. Cool. Maybe it was the city of Atlantis because it's like very circular, you know, and it's very concentric and it's very huge, like the size of a city would be. And but anyway, what I read is that astronauts that are aboard the International Space Station often use the landmark to navigate. So it's very significant for the world in general, especially for space travel. The most widely accepted, not wildly, but widely accepted theory says that this was a geological dome that had eroded and likely formed by volcanic activity that uplifted the land millions of years ago. And over time, the erosion wore away the softer rock layers, leaving behind the harder, more resistant layers of the stone in the concentric circles. But again, it's just like almost such a perfectly perfect circle. Like, that is beautiful. I mean, I know nature has beautiful geometric designs that are just naturally occurring, so it could be possible, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm thinking if it was volcanic activity, volcanoes don't really erupt evenly, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyway, so the layers within the structure, there's sandstone, limestone, and volcanic rock. So there is evidence that it's there, but all of these things erode at different rates. And I think maybe that the erosion of the different, the stones probably is what contributes to the structure's very unique appearance. You know how it's like the circular rings, it makes it look like an eye and
Makes sense.
has all these, yeah. Anyway, it almost feels like Mother Earth sculpted something, you know? Like, here's this beautiful piece of art, and Mother Earth is always watching. I'm here for you. It makes my little, like, nature heart feel so happy when I think about it like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so while some scientists speculate that the Richat structure was formed from that volcanic explosion, I feel like the theories that I'm about to talk about are obviously less widely known because there was also that theory of the meteor hitting it. But we're going to just really discuss how the formation provides a unique window into our geological history and how it reveals what it was like, you know, hundreds of millions of years ago. And then I'm going to get more into the myth of Atlantis, because both of them are equally fascinating to me, and I wanted you guys to hear both. That makes sense.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm ready.
You're ready. I've mostly already talked about the fascination behind this Richat structure, like the scientific versions of it and how the different types of stone within it eroding at different layers, making it all beautiful. The other theory that I briefly mentioned was the meteor, which could be a good theory because we know what craters look like, and we know what huge craters might look like because we have that giant crater that's theorized have taken out the dinosaurs. However, there is not evidence that it's a crater impact because there's no shocked quartz or other indicators, or even like, I guess whenever a meteor hits, it leaves behind like a fingerprint of sorts, and the formation shape and structure are definitely more consistent with like an eroded dome rather than like boom impact. So that's a less known one, but also I just can't get over the fact that it's circular. Like in that area in the Sahara, there's those things. There's limestone, there's the magma, there's things like that on other places in that area, but this is the only area that is round. So it's like, why is it round? Why is it in this area? Why does it look so beautiful? It's beautiful to my like nerd heart. Yeah.
Because it is beautiful.
Yeah. Anyway, so one of the biggest, I guess, I don't know if you want to call it conspiracy theories, but my favorite theory is that it is actually the location of the lost city of Atlantis.
Yes. Let's go find it.
So, whenever we think about Atlantis, we think about like a submerged civilization that went beneath the ocean. There's that wonderful Disney movie Atlantis, and we see, that it's sunk and they had a magical dome and da-da-da-da, right?
And there's that awesome family getaway resort called Atlantis that I want to go to so bad.
I've never heard of it, but that actually sounds amazing. So
it's all water.
I'll join you. Okay. But say it conjures up the image of water, right? So you think it's like an island somewhere in the Atlantic Ocean.
Yes.
Now, but this concept seems so fantastical that it's easy to dismiss as mere legend. But the Sahara Desert was an ocean.
What?
Yes. And there's a lot of places. Okay, let me give you an example. So near where I live, I guess not really near it. You have to drive quite a few hours to get there. But it's in the middle of the desert. It's on top of a hill. And you can find fossilized shark teeth, megalodon teeth. You can find bones.
Oceanic
turtle scoots.
Life.
Yes, okay. And this is in the middle of the desert, okay? In the smack dab middle of the desert, you can find all of those oceanic fossils.
That is so
because
cool.
It used to be an ocean, right? Just like here at the Sahara used to be an ocean. I believe they actually found like one of the biggest finds they had was a whale fossil that they found in the middle of the Sahara.
In the freaking desert?
I know. Can you imagine
cool.
the person who found that and was like, what the fuck? We're in a desert. Why is there a marine mammal here? I don't know.
Wow.
All right. So anyway, for those of you who don't know, I'm sure everybody knows, but I'm just going to go over what is Atlantis, okay? So Atlantis is the story that's its oldest time because it was first talked about in 360 BC by Greek philosopher Plato. And we've all heard of Plato. We better have all heard of Plato.
Oh, yeah.
He describes the travels of a wise man, Solon, to Egypt, where he meets a priestess who was told of a great civilization. This city was lush with greenery and was organized in concentric circles of land and water. But it was supposedly swallowed. Yeah, right, concentric circles. But it was supposedly swallowed by the sea 9,000 before. It was supposedly swallowed by the sea 9,000 years before Plato's birth.
In the Sahara Desert.
Ancient, yes, when it was an ocean.
I think you're onto something here.
This ancient account has been subject to translation errors, of course. So people say like, oh, this isn't a real thing. Like, this is so ancient. How are you going to really know what they're talking about?
And that's why you'll never find it.
Yeah. I guess, for instance, the word translated as island comes from the Greek Nessos, which could mean island, peninsula, or land that's surrounded by lakes. So it doesn't necessarily just mean island like Hawaii, So additionally, the priestess described that the priestess who described Atlantis had an influence over the vast area, including parts of Africa and Europe, which suggests that it might not have been a remote island in the Atlantic after all. So if this priestess who knew about it, who was in Egypt, right, had a lot of influence all these other places, and obviously Atlantis had to have been connected to these other civilizations to even get the word out of what it existed, that it existed. Yeah. So it's making more and more sense, right? So the physical resemblance between the structure that I was talking about and the description that was written by Plato is quite shocking, like it's very much spot on. And I forgot to mention, because I know I gave it in kilometers a while ago, but it's in miles, it's 25 miles in diameter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's quite far. I mean, if we were to drive 25 miles, that might take us like 30 minutes to drive.
Not in California. It'd be like 4.5 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also wanted to put it into perspective that the Sahara Desert, yes, there was no ocean over there. It was also very tropical because of all the water, right? So ancient times, ocean, tropical, and this is confirmed by climate researchers, okay? This isn't just theory. It is confirmed that it was a tropical region, okay?
You know what?
100%.
Maybe when you're in a desert and you have a mirage, when you see a mirage in the desert and you're seeing like this tropical oasis and shit, you're not actually seeing like a mirage. You're seeing it through a portal in the past of the way it was.
Yeah. That can be possible.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. So the Smithsonian reports that the Sahara had a vast network of rivers and lakes, and supporting the possibility of a green. If you think about and you support the idea that the Sahara was green and beautiful and lush, then you're also supporting the idea that it was also capable of sustaining a large civilization, right? Because, in order to survive, in order for any civilization to start and survive, you need water. And there was a crap ton of water in what now is a large desert.
And you need some type of greenery or possibility to grow greenery for food sustenance.
Exactly. So whatever I learned about that the Sahara used to be an ocean quite a few years ago, but I didn't really know that there was also a theory of it being the location of Atlantis, the lost city of Atlantis. So let's think about this in the terms of in the case of a flood. So how could a city in the Sahara end up underwater? Obviously, the answer lies within the climatic history of the planet. You know that our planet has undergone many ice ages. There has been at least 5 major ice ages, but that's just the major ones. Yeah. We've gone under multiple ice ages.
You win the gold medal for this episode because you made my mind blow up.
Okay, cool. I'm glad. Yay,
you're the winner.
Let me do the dance.
You win.
So ice sheets gradually build up and then they rapidly melt.
Yes.
So whenever they rapidly melt, they cause sea levels to rise dramatically. The most recent ice age ended around 11,500 years ago, which coincides with Plato's timeline for the sinking.
And it talks about it sinking, but things sink in sand as well.
Yes, but they're pretty much this kind of evidence is saying that when all the ice sheets rapidly melted, it caused the sea levels to rise dramatically, and there's a flood and takes over Atlantis.
But I mean, like, it could have sunk in the water, obviously, but then the water rushes all the sand on top of it, and it sinks under sand as well.
During this period, temperatures spiked, which led to a massive rise in sea levels that could have inundated the pre-Saharan Africa, burying Atlantis under layers of mud and sediment.
See, that's what I said!
Yeah, that's what you said. You just got ahead of me.
Sorry.
Okay.
I'm really into this, man.
I'm really glad. Satellite imagery from NASA shows erosion patterns in the Sahara that's consistent with ancient water flows, which supports the theory of that the region was once flooded. Additionally, salt deposits found throughout the Sahara indicate that seawater once covered this area. So that's just all the evidence that, yes, it was the sea, right? So let's briefly talk about the government's interest in this.
Oh, it's always the fucking government getting in the way of the truth.
Interestingly, the CIA has also shown interest in the Richat Structure. Declassified files from 1965 reveal that the Navy planned a scientific flyover of the Richat Structure and other sites worldwide, searching for geomagnetic anomalies. The findings of this study remain redacted. So they haven't shown us anything. Yeah. So because they're redacted, it sparks curiosity and speculation about what the government might know
I'm going to say
about
right now,
these true origins of Atlantis.
everyone did a cry out for getting the redacted alien information back out there into the public and shit to learn about alien life, which they didn't tell us nearly enough of what they know. I know they didn't. Anyways, we need to do the same thing about the Sahara Desert and Atlantis.
We need that redacted. Yep.
Not unredacted? Not
Yeah, we need it
redacted? Irredacted?
Yeah. Redacted. We don't need it redacted anymore. It needs to be
tell us
open.
what you know.
I know. It needs to be declassified.
Oh my god, yes, that's a word. What is wrong with us?
I don't know. It's late. I guess
It is very late. It is very, very late.
And by late, guys, at my house, I'm on the West Coast, so it's 9:16. So, is it really that late? Yes, it fucking is. I'm a teacher.
I'm in New Mexico. It's 10:16. But I'm used to Arkansas time, so for me, it's almost freaking midnight. I am tired.
Yeah, you got some, what's it called? Jet lag. All right, but that's all I have about the Richat Structure in Atlantis.
What you got next? Because
I have one more story. And are you done with all yours?
Yeah, I'm done.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize. I think I must have misunderstood.
Hit me
all
with
right,
your
so my
best
last
shot.
story.
Fire away.
Hit me with your best story.
Yeah.
Anyway, this one is more filled with woe and despair, and not interesting geological, landmarks. And I cannot say this word either, so I'm not even going to try. I'm going to spell it, and then I'll give you the nickname that it has. So this is a forest, and the spelling is Aokigahara. The forest, which is also known as the suicide forest. It's in Japan, and it obviously has quite the reputation. And it's
heartbreaking.
Yeah, it definitely sends chills down your spine. It makes you very sad. And then if you ever wanted to visit, it makes you kind of question why you want to visit,
For real.
Yeah. Anyway, so because of the nature of this forest, people feel like it's spooky and that it's haunted by the lost souls that couldn't resist its charm, I guess, for lack of a better word. They say that these spirits roam the forest and they whisper the tales of their woe and despair. 20 years ago, there were 108 suicides that were reported, and that's ones that were just reported, and that was just 20 years ago. So the number has gone up, and here's a tip that people say. If you're ever talking about this forest, if you're in that area of Japan, this is what people say as a tip, and you want to visit for some reason. So this is what the locals will say. Absolutely stay on the path. If you ever find yourself lost, follow the colorful tape to help lead you back. The tape was put up by volunteers that would comb through the forest for bodies.
Man.
Yeah, so it's pretty much, think of it as like a lifeline to guide you out. And because, that kind of thing, you can get lost out. And if you do believe in energy, that sort of thing, with all of those terrible feelings and thoughts that are culminating there, make sure you have a lifeline out. So the visuals are also the visuals are not the only thing that's spooky to visitors. They say that their cell phones don't work there too, and which could be attributed to the fact that the forest soil is rich in iron, which apparently messes with the electromagnetic symbols. But anyway, not just cell phones have issues, but compasses have issues, and GPS and any sort of other electronic device that you may bring. This is another reason why people put up the tape, because it is so easy to get lost in there, and it's very hard to find your way out again. So even maybe you went there just for the intention of just visiting, you might actually never leave because you get lost.
Whoever the people are, the volunteers that are going through here looking for these poor souls and putting up this tape, they have got to be super strong mentally.
Yes.
And just to even want to volunteer for something like that, you either have gone through some shit and you want to try and help,
yeah.
or you just have a very kind soul. But these people that do that are good people. That is, wow, I couldn't imagine being a volunteer for something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Very sombering. The forest also, like if you want to visit there, there's other things to look at other than just walking through the forest. There are some caves that are worth visiting, apparently. The big one, the two that are most worth visiting are apparently called the Wind Cave and the Bat Cave. And I guess the Bat Cave does have a nature center near the entrance that has Batman references. So maybe that's just a way for them to put some lightheartedness into that area. The lake, the Bat Cave, is more than just is there more than just for puns. It's actually a lava tube that was formed during the 9th century, when Mount Fuji erupted, and there's obviously like 6 species of bats in there. So, so you can see pretty cool lava formations if you go there.
And cool bats.
Yeah, and cool bats, yeah. And the caves are, like, cave systems are always fascinating to me anyway. I like exploring caves if I ever get the chance, but, I don't really get the chance. But now I'm going to...
You need to come to New Mexico with me. We're going to go to Carlsbad Caverns. We're going to look at all the caves because it's the most it's mind-blowing. It's the most amazing thing freaking ever. And then at the end of it, in the nighttime, you can go and sit on these stone stairs or steps or chairs or whatever. And you go sit there and you wait for the bats to come out of the cave, and thousands upon thousands and thousands of bats come out of the cave, and they fly around you and they fly out, and you could see as far as the eye can see is like a line of bats going out into the desert for the night.
See, that scares me because apparently people have there has been reports of people getting rabies by just being touched by bats. And
I don't believe it. I don't believe that. That's bullshit. I call bullshit on that. You got to be bit to get rabies.
I'm not going to test it out.
Well,
I'll just avoid the bats.
No. I can talk you into it. You just gotta come here and let's look at the caves, and then I'll talk you into the bats.
Okay.
Anyways, go on.
All right. So every year, the Japanese police and volunteers, they search through the expanse of this forest, and they, looking for remains. And every year they find between 50 and 100 bodies, and most of them are unidentifiable because they've been there for up to a year.
And
that has reduced them to bones. Those who have more recently deceased and can be identifiable, they are taken to a nearby forest station, where they have like a morgue. And apparently what they have to do there to prevent the spirits of these fresh corpses from haunting, they said the workers have to stay with them overnight, I guess to keep them company and maybe to just tell them that it's okay, rest easy, sort of thing. Occasionally, the search teams find people who are unsuccessful in their attempts and are still alive. And those individuals might have severe headaches and dehydration and injuries or whatever it is. And so they are rushed to immediate treatment and psychological help, of course. So they've been able to save a few lives that way. And yeah, so this forest has been aptly nicknamed the Sea of Trees or the Demon Forest. Like, I would like to give more specific location information, but part of me is like, I think it was enough for me to just say it was in Japan. And I'm going to go into some more history of the forest. And again, I won't give a lot of the details, just because I don't want people to easily seek it out. I don't know. But anyway, apparently in ancient times, because this isn't even like a current problem. It started a while, like long time ago. But apparently in ancient times, Japanese families would abandon their elderly and their sick in the forest during famines. And they would just leave them. And I'm like, oh, God, why do people already start building up that negative energy? And then this association with death was amplified by a novel that was published in 1960, which ended with 2 young lovers ending it in the forest together. And after this book was public,
which is not romantic, you guys. It's not romantic.
It is not. And what's crazy is after this book was published, the numbers of incident or unalivings increased because people had this weird fantasy that they got from this book, and so the number increased in the area. There is another controversial book, which I won't name the name, and this was published in 1993, that pretty much said that this location would be the perfect location to do that. And
a book
of course,
told them that?
Yeah.
I don't know what book
Yeah.
that is, but what the fuck?
I know. So this book obviously also increased the number of incidences happening. And yeah, so that's, these people, and like when people are writing books like that, like why the heck would you want to put that negativity into the world? You know, like there's not a lot of like a big part of me that believes that, like, you know, how some people are like, oh, the devil works through people. Like, I'm not religious in that manner, but things like that really make me question, like, you're writing this book and it's going to drastically impact people,
Especially
in this
young
way.
or not young, but just people that are in a
Impressionable and
vulnerable, very
vulnerable.
vulnerable state.
Yeah, exactly. So there's been a lot of things to like that had caused it to become more of a popular, you know,
And then
float destination.
Those people are making money off of it, selling books, telling people that. Like, whoever out there is making these books, I want to say, you are sick. You are a sick human being, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
Mm-hmm. And again, like, people who want to visit, like, the thing is, you're so likely to see something. You are so likely to see somebody because, like, the average is what, like 2 a week? So if you decide to go visiting, like, it's not going to be out of the ordinary to see something. And, like, why would you want to?
In that
you know,
area,
like, respect them. Yeah. Like,
it's 2 a week?
About, yeah.
Oh my God. That's so freaking heartbreaking.
Yeah. So there's just a lot, like, and even people who are more spiritually inclined, I imagine, want to do what they can to help the area. And, you know, also they question about, like, what happens to the spirits who reside in that forest. And, you know, some Japanese spiritualists believe that the forest will consume the spirits and, like, combine them with the trees and the vines and the moss and kind of, like, build them back into nature as, in my opinion, a way of helping them, maybe.
Kind of like whenever I die, and I'm putting out there right now so everybody knows, and I don't have a will, this is what I want. I want a hole to be dug. I want my body to be thrown into the hole just as it is and buried, because I want my body to completely return to nature.
Yeah. On the flip side of that theory is that they think that the forest is, like I said, a demon forest, and they're trying to lure souls into the forest to become part of it, to make it powerful and whatever. And other people think that if you die there, you become, like, what's called a yurei, I think is pronounced, which is a cross between, like, a ghost and a demonic goblin and a tarnished soul, which are often depicted as young Japanese girls with long, messy hair, wearing white and floating above the ground. So, yeah, I mean, I would rather think of it as the nicer version, you know?
Definitely.
Yeah, especially because I feel like maybe a few of these people, more than a few, have been manipulated in one way or another to seek out this location. Some may think, like, oh, why did I report on it and everything? But mostly I wanted it to be like a message, and, you know, this is a serious thing, and there are resources out there for people if you're feeling less than.
Which we all
I don't
do.
know how to, yeah. And there's always.
I promise.
Yes. And I know it's so hard, but yeah, it is so valid to feel this way. You know, it is so valid to feel sad. It's valid to, you know, have dark thoughts.
Any
you know?
feelings that you feel, they're valid. What
you need to think about are your actions, you know?
Exactly. You can have those thoughts, those dark thoughts. That's no matter what anybody tells you, they're normal. It's just the acting upon them. That's where the line's drawn.
And reach out to anybody, and I'm sure anybody would be willing to help you. And regardless if you know them.
If they're not, or if they're like, oh, you're just wanting attention or whatever, reach out to somebody else. There are numbers out there.
Exactly. Anyway, I'm sorry to leave off on such a somber tone,
but it's important
story. Yeah. But that is all I have for tonight. So how do we come back from the sadness?
We're going to come back from that with the message from our near-death experience episode, where pretty much all of them, these people that didn't even know each other, all of them, the meaning of life was all summed up together with them. And that was to love yourself and be your authentic self. That is the meaning of life. When once
Yes.
you can love yourself, authentically you, no matter what anyone else says, then you are free. You're free. Love
That's
yourself.
right.
And then
Love yourself and try to work through the fear of being yourself and
because it is scary.
showing who you are. Yes, because it
100%
100% is scary.
And it's not immediately be easy. It's a work in progress. But don't forget to check out our Facebook so you can see all of our videos or pictures that go along with the things that we talk about. And push our buttons. Love yourself.
Yes, push our buttons. Love yourself.
Push our buttons. Push those like buttons, the follow buttons. Push the buttons. Push our buttons and love yourself. And we really would love it if you would share with us. And really, you would be the very first person to email us. Who wants to be the first person to email us?
Raise your hand.
Oh, raise your hand. You're such a teacher. The first person to email us and tell us your stories, whether it be about ghosts or aliens or Bigfoot or a conspiracy or even just something that you want us to talk about. We will research it for you and we will talk about it. So
email us at witchinandwinin@gmail.com. That's WITCHN
ANDWINEN@gmail.com. Be the first to email us. We'll never forget you.
You'll be the real MVP.
Yeah, we'll mention you forever.
It'll be like when businesses have their first dollar. Like, here's our first emailer.
Yeah, we really would. I would never forget them. But
Same.
Touch our buttons. Love yourself. Touch our buttons and love yourself.
Touch your buttons and love yourself.
Oh, that too.
I waggle.
Too. I waggle. All right. Have a good night, day, whatever.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Why did the alien fly off from his ship? He needed some space.